Hello everyone, I'm Michael Espina. I'm the founder of Math Agility. It is an online math tutoring company based in California, and I encourage you to follow my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter account at Math Agility to learn more math tips. I am grateful to Turo Online Summit for this wonderful opportunity in sharing to you guys some tips that would help educators in teaching math. Before we start, let us recognize first what is lost when we teach or learn virtually versus a face-to-face interaction inside the classroom. First, physical interaction is more limited in online teaching. Second, verbal and body languages become vague and ambiguous. Third, it's hard to guide the students with solving problems. We are not able to observe and check on their actual work. Let's start. How can we overcome these challenges? Tip number 1. Create rapport with your online students. Break the ice. Show that you are sincere in knowing what they like and mostly interested about. In this way, your students will feel comfortable with you and alleviate fear in learning math. Tip number 2. How we retain information plays an important role in learning. Encourage your students to take down notes and practice solving problems. This is what science says. After 2 weeks, an average person will only remember a certain amount of information. 10% of what they read, 20% of what they hear, and 30% of what they see. 50% of what they hear and see, 70% of what they say and write, and 90% of what they practice doing. Tip number 3. Every day before starting your lesson, it is essential to ask your students these 3 important questions. First, what have you learned at the last meeting? Second, what will you learn today? And third, what are the obstacles in learning? In this way, you are giving your students a sense of direction on the activities of the day and if there are any encountered problems that needs to be resolved immediately. A student will be stressed and unfocused once left behind in the lesson that may eventually result in losing their interest in learning. Tip number 4. Visualize the progress of your student by creating a Kanban board. The Kanban board enables the student's adaptability to respond successfully to changes and imbibe the culture of continuous improvement. The meaning of the Japanese word Kanban in English is continuous improvement. This is an example of the Kanban board. Backlog is a list of lessons with deadline to complete. They are scheduled in order according to its dependencies. Selected lessons in this column are being prepared to be studied and organized by a team member with the help of the teacher. Ongoing column includes lessons currently being learned and discussed by the team of students. Done are lists of completed lessons and lessons where students are currently being tested. In case the students failed in the test, the lessons will be returned in the backlog column. Tip number 5. Always give illustrations and show by example the step-by-step procedure in solving a problem. Of course, you don't want your students get lost while you solve. There are several free virtual blackboards and whiteboards where students and teachers can collaborate. Here are some of them: Scribbler, Paper, Zoom Whiteboard, and Blackboard. To make this work, you have to have a tablet. Writing by using mouse on these virtual boards will be very difficult and also very challenging when writing equations. So, it is very practical for teachers to invest on tablets like Wacom or iPad. Tip number 6. Graphing is inseparable to math, so you should get an excellent graphing tool. And as humans, we are lousy in manipulating numbers, so graphing was invented according to Charlie Munger. Desmos and Wolfram Alpha are the 2 of my favorite graphing tools online. It can do graphing of simultaneous equations, inequalities, optimization, polar, trigonometric, and parametric equations. Let's have a demo by solving an optimization problem using the free software tool Desmos. This problem was given in the easy round at the first monthly Math Agility competition last April 2020. And here is the problem. The Abianto company uses 4 grades of recycled paper called grades A, B, C, and D produced from scrap paper it collects. Companies that produce these grades of recycled paper do so as the result of a single operation. So the proportion of each grade of paper is fixed for each company. The Recon company produces 1 unit of grade A, 2 units of grade B, 3 units of grade C, and 2 units of grade D for each ton of paper processed, and charges $400 for the processing. The Fields company produces 1 unit of grade A, 5 units of grade B, 1 unit of grade C, and 7 units of grade D for each ton of paper processed, and charges $600 for the processing. The Abianto company needs at least 210 units of grade A paper, 600 units of grade B paper, 380 units of grade C paper, and 650 units of grade D paper. How should the company place its order so that costs are minimized? First, let us define the variables x and y. X is equal to the tons of paper processed Recon, and y is equal tons of paper processed by Fields. Second, our objective is to minimize the cost, and that can be represented mathematically by C of x and y is equal to 400x plus 600y. We will use this equation to compute the various costs that will result in the combination of the processed papers by Recon and Fields company. Third, let us define constraints of the different grades of paper. For grade A, Recon and Fields can produce 1 unit each, and Abianto requires at least 210 units of it. So, we can input in Desmos the inequality equation x plus y is greater than or equal to 210. Next, for grade B paper, Recon can produce 2 units and Fields can produce 5 units. Abianto requires at least 600 units of grade B paper. So the inequality equation will be 2x plus 5y is greater than or equal to 600. For grade C, Recon can produce 3 units and Fields can produce 1 unit. Abianto requires at least 300 units of grade C paper. So the inequality equation will be 3x plus y greater than or equal to 380. For grade D paper, Recon can produce 2 units and Fields can produce 7 units. Abianto requires at least 650 units of grade D paper. So the inequality equations will be 2x plus 7y greater than or equal to 650. Fourth, we can grab the natural constraints x greater than or equal to 0, and the second natural constraint, y greater than or equal to 0. The upper right portion of the graph is our area of interest. Now, to make the vertices of the polygon appear in Desmos, we can just double-click each of the vertex in the region we are interested in. So for the first vertex, the pair is 0 and 380. The next vertex is 85 and 125. The next vertex is 150 and 60. And then the next would be 237 and 25, and the last is 325 and 0. If we substitute these pairs in the objective function, we will have the following. C at 0380, we have 228,000. And then for C at 85 and 125, we have 109,000. And C at 150 and 60, we have 96,000. And then C at 237.5 and 25, we have 110,000. And for C at 325 and 0, we have 130,000. Based on the computation, the Avianto company can minimize costs of recycled papers to 96,000 by having the Recon company process 150 tons of paper and Phil's company process 60 tons of paper. There you go. We have solved the optimization problem by using Desmos. Tip number 7. Gamify your lessons and create relevant contents. Mini competitions or games in class make the task, lesson, or homework more fun and challenging. And at the same time, students are being trained to be a team player. At Math Agility, we have a monthly competition where our goal is to make learning math more fun and exciting. Another point is to reference your math problems to famous characters where your students can easily identify with, like Taylor Swift, BTS, Eminem, Drake, and Justin Bieber. You can steer the interest of your students and give them that extra push to learn math. Tip number 8. Use oral testing as part of your activity to check if the student understands the lesson. This method provides opportunities for students to reflect and present evidence of thinking. The question is, how can this be done online efficiently? Thanks to GoSing platform, where educators can now create their own class podcast about a specific topic or lesson, and they can invite their students to submit their oral explanations of the said topic. And last but not the least, tip number 9. As parents and educators, make resourcefulness be your mantra. As Tony Robbins says, it is not about your resources, it is about your resourcefulness. There are a lot of free online resources which can help you and your students develop mastery in math and increase confidence and skills in problem solving. Some of them are Khan Academy, MathStack, OpenStax, Wikipedia, Coursera, Stanford Online, Udemy, and Math Agility. So there you go with my 9 tips. And for my final words, it is important as educators and learners of math to continuously improve and be creative to face the challenges of our times. Because in the digital universe, access to information is power, and adaptability to change is the norm. Thank you for listening to my talk. If you need help with your math, you can book an appointment by visiting our website. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter account at Math Agility to learn more math tips. And hope you learned something from me. Good day to all!